In the past month, 21 Pilots have returned from their year-long hiatus with the release of Jumpsuit, Nico and the Niners, and Levitate, along with each song's respective music video. Each song and video compose a 3-part series telling the story of Trench. Since each video's release, I've had the time to carefully decode each song's lyrics and visuals, which I plan to show you right now. To start, I decoded the Heavy Dirty Soul video, as I realized after watching Jumpsuit that Heavy Dirty Soul's video has a very integral role in telling the Trench story, as it carries a lot more than just an ending to the Blurryface era. Heavy Dirty Soul's music video portrays Tyler's struggle to maintain control over himself and where he's going in life. Throughout the video, Tyler is being driven to a seemingly non-existent place by a strange figure with no face or body in a black car. The car represents a sort of vessel that sends Tyler on a journey with no clear end in sight. The heavy use of black on Tyler's end is meant to convey his darkness and anything connected to it. If you look closely, you'll notice he has slight undertones of white in his outfit, such as his socks and undershirt. We'll get more into that later, just keep that in mind right now. As we progress through the video, we see Josh in the middle of the road with yellow hair playing on his drums as flames continuously creep from the bottom up. Josh is repeatedly swerved around as Tyler's car progressively falls apart, symbolizing a lot more than just Tyler's directionless road trip coming to an end. Josh's hair and the fact that he never gets hit by Tyler's car exemplifies how Tyler's darkness could never hurt someone like Josh, which foreshadows the idea behind Jumpsuit. To close out the Heavy Dirty Soul video, we see Tyler and Josh dancing around in front of the burning car, which explodes as Tyler points at it, indicating he's finally regained control over himself and his emotions. His victory doesn't last for long though, as we see he's right back in the car at the very end of the video. Going forward from where Heavy Dirty Soul left off and directly into Jumpsuit, we open the video with the smoldering remains of the car from the Heavy Dirty Soul video. The flames from the Blurryface era being put out and the sunrise in the back indicate that things are starting over and Tyler's old darkness has finally been laid to rest. After Tyler speaks and hops off the car, we do see the flames in the car reignite. Despite what I just mentioned, Tyler's old darkness was rekindled and our journey starts all over again. At this point, it's important to notice Tyler's outfit and appearance hasn't changed much at all from the Heavy Dirty Soul music video. Keep this in mind because we will definitely come back to it very shortly. Tyler wakes up to find that a group of unknown people are staring down at him from above as a figure in red robes on a white horse draws near. The horse can be found to represent death in some regards, along with a secondary meaning of spiritual freedom. Although the two meanings are very different, both do end up lining up with a lot of the ideas present in the Jumpsuit video. The strange people, whom are later revealed to be banditos, illustrate how Tyler sees the world in front of him. He feels small, insignificant, and to a certain extent judged. At this point, we see a flashback to Tyler on the car from the previous video in the same clothes as well. This conveys a duality that Tyler feels inside of himself, as if there's two parts of him that are going in separate directions. One wishes to go forward while the other wishes to stay back and relish in its connection to the darkness. Tyler begins to sing about the jumpsuit in the first verse, and to break it down, the first verse is mostly Tyler coming to grips with what faces him in the present, as plenty of new surroundings accompany him after 21 Pilots were shot into the spotlight after Blurryface's success. Unsure of what to think of what could potentially hurt him in the ways it has before, he calls upon the jumpsuit for protection against the weight and shock of a new place. Once the horseman catches up to Tyler, he paints Tyler's neck black to bring him back to Dema. The horseman in the video is in fact one of the bishops known as Keon's. If you look closely, you'll see that Keon's bears black and white face paint similar to that of Tyler's neck and hand paint. Tyler begins to follow the bishop back towards Dema as a strange bird flashes on screen. The bird is actually a vulture, which is significant when it comes to understanding the overall theme of Jumpsuit and its video. Vultures are recognized by many cultures and beliefs to signify renewal and transformation of death into life. Tyler then begins to sing the bridge, which, to simplify, chronicles how Tyler finds himself caught in between not wanting to hurt the ones he loves and protecting the ones he loves. He doesn't want his loved ones getting corrupted the same way that he was corrupted, which would be as easy as him touching them, just as easy as it was for the bishop to touch Tyler and corrupt him back to the way he was. As the bridge ends, Tyler is rained with petals from the same yellow flowers he sees at his feet moments before. Yellow is now symbolic of Tyler's light and protection, hence the banditos in Tyler's jumpsuit bearing the color yellow. We then see one of the banditos watching over Tyler, who is later revealed to be Josh, as the focus switches to Tyler again at the scene of the burning car. This time, Tyler pulls out a jumpsuit from the trunk of the car and puts it on while walking away, indicating he's protected and begun to construct his new life from the wreckage of the old. We pick up in the next video with a bird's eye view of Dema. If you notice, there are 9 towers in the center of Dema which correspond to the old references of the Tower of Silence, but also each of the 9 bishops, hence the name Nico and the Niners. Each bishop is representative of a core value, so to speak, and can be understood by 9 songs from Blurryface. On the topic of Blurryface, each tower and bishops mirrors the 9 circles on the Blurryface album cover. As I mentioned, each bishop is represented by 9 songs off of the Blurryface album. Heavy Dirty Soul represents Keons, who represents unworthiness. Tear in My Heart represents Sakarver, who represents relationship insecurity. Ride represents Listo, who represents mental instability. Polarize represents Lisden, who represents wanting to better yourself. Doubt represents Risedro, who represents doubting faith. Laneboy represents Vitomo, who represents disingenuous influence. Fairly Local represents Andre, who represents misguidance. Stressed Out represents Nico, instability from stress. And Goner represents Nils, who represents hopelessness. As the song begins, reverse vocals can be heard proclaiming that Tyler and the group of people from the jumpsuit video are actually banditos and the motives of the rebellion as well. Moving forward into the video, we get our first look at the rebellion led by the banditos. Nico and the Niners very heavily portrays Tyler's willingness to escape his darkness once and for all, as well as bring those affected by their own darkness with him. We see Tyler in a room looking out a window as another vulture lands on a ledge nearby. Tyler can be seen without his jumpsuit and a wilted daisy in his hand, indicating his feelings of defeat and vulnerability. Tyler puts the daisy in a box and begins to prepare for his escape. Tyler begins to rap the first verse about the rumblings of a rebellion against the bishops and his involvement in said rebellion. We also hear the phrase, quote, "East is up," which calls back to the sunrise and sunset contrast evident in the jumpsuit video. The sun rises in the east and sets in the west, hence East is up. Tyler also mentions Dema's oppressive rule over its citizens as well as razor blades. While many speculate it indicates a promotion of self-destruction, it doesn't in the way you might think. This line is a call and response between Dema and the rebellion, wherein the rebellion rejects the idea of self-destruction. Proceeding into the chorus, Tyler admits his protection and security is wavering during his escape. He's more grounded with his jumpsuit as it weighs him down. Inversely, he feels lighter without it, hence the lyric, "lighter when I'm lower." Tyler also concedes he's flying from a fire, which is interesting due to this lyric's connection to the preceding and succeeding videos of Jumpsuit and Levitate, indicating he's completely unbound while trying to escape his darkness during the rebellion. Later in the video, we get a glimpse of some of Dema's citizens wearing all gray in some sort of church. The gray is most likely to represent the reduction of their true colors down to a refined and monotonous image the bishops want. The quote-unquote logo of Dema is present above the altar in the form of a neon light. The neon light symbolizes the 9 towers of Dema we saw at the beginning of the video. We see the video begin to play in reverse, as well as the song, which ultimately creates a turning point in the story of Trench. The rebellion is officially starting, and Tyler can be seen wearing his jumpsuit again, surrounded by the banditos. Afterwards, Tyler and the banditos are ducking out and escaping into an underground tunnel teeming with light as the bishops approach 2 children holding up some of the rebellion's clothing in front of Josh's drums. Although it's not quite clear, the bishop's approach is a premonition of the Levitate video right before the final scene of the Nico video. Getting into the Levitate video without giving too much away, the themes of the video are meant to draw the story of the trilogy to a close. Without skipping a beat, the banditos and Tyler are back in the trench outside of Dema. Notice that each time the screen fades to black, only the torch's flames remain, conveying the light amongst the dark. We immediately are shown Tyler's head being shaved while surrounded by torches and numerous other banditos aside from the original few. The visual is immediately reminiscent of the car radio music video, which I'll get back to shortly. As the first verse begins, we see many old symbols returning such as jumpsuits, vultures, Tyler's yellow rings on his index and ring fingers, as well as the car from the Heavy Dirty Soul video. Tyler describes a bit of turmoil by confessing he probably shouldn't have involved so many people with his internal affairs as they already pose so much of a threat to him. He can't make his mind up on what exactly he wants, but does admit his heart is hidden anyway. The previously mentioned duality of pre- and post-blurry-faced Tyler in the jumpsuit video make a comeback in this verse, furthering the energetic chaos of the Levitate video so far. Tyler goes on to proclaim that he, along with the rest of the banditos, are a force to be reckoned with, not carelessly ignored and labeled as reckless fools. Tyler now references a lyric from Car Radio at this point before immediately returning to his argument against those who misunderstand his true intentions and messages. He also mentions his darkness only ever seems to attack him at night when he's unguarded and vulnerable, an interesting detail that comes into play later. Tyler references a lyric from Guns for Hands, exposing ideas that although he's trying to escape, he isn't completely able to get away from what he once knew. He goes back and forth between having confidence and or completely lacking it. Amongst Tyler's internal strife, the hands of a bishop reach up to Tyler's neck and yank him backward, proving his feelings of doom weren't unreasonably founded. The video is pulled apart into trails to potentially show how everything is becoming blurred and skewed to Tyler. Although this is speculation, it is the only conclusion I could draw given the context of the song and video. A very mysterious man is seen staring blankly while muttering "Welcome to Trench," conveying a multitude of potential meanings given Tyler's recent kidnapping. Although the man is very likely to be Clancy given the context of the letters sent during the hiatus, I can't find any concrete evidence of the man truly being Clancy. Tyler is seen being dragged away from the Banditos campsite ironically by a yellow bandana wrapped around his no longer painted throat. Tyler's kidnapping and potential death are all part of the concert and complete diversion mentioned in Nico and the Niners, also proving the lyric "will win but not everyone will get out" to be about Tyler as well. Moreover, Levitate was never about Tyler finally escaping. It was always about the inevitability of his descent back into darkness at the end of the day, despite the efforts he took to get there. Even though he was flying from a fire in Nico and the Niners, he no longer has that freedom in Levitate, as the word levitate itself only indicates the illusion of slightly hovering above the ground, which in turn implies Tyler's strength and escape were only an illusion the whole time. That he'd never really escaped but could always make it look like he was without anybody really noticing what was happening, just like we saw at the campfire scene. Dema is ultimately only a different way to describe Blurryface, given that the story is connected to so much of the Blurryface album and era. To bring it all together, Tyler can never really escape, and that's why the story ends with Levitate.
My hope of something more is all I have in this rigid tomb, and I will not let it die. I will find a way to experience what's beyond these colossal walls.